Those first two tracks were Let It Go by Alex G from the 2010 album Erase from the self-release, as well as the track 2122 by Geese from their album 3D World that came out this year on Partisan Records. Good afternoon, listeners of Coffee Noise. I'm your host, DJ Marlin, and if you can't believe it, it's Tuesday once again. Good afternoon, listeners. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023, or something. I forget the day constantly. We're enjoying a nice, I would say cold, warm coffee that I got from Stripe, so nothing fancy, but nothing horrible, and that's good, because, frankly, to be frank, coffee as a whole, it's a bit overrated. I'm gonna get some flack for that, but yeah, let's start off with a very provocative thesis. Coffee is overrated, and I mean, my metaphysics professor says that. Not that coffee's overrated, but the provocative thesis, but we go in the whole metaphysics thing, which is a whole bore for my fellow listeners out there. Let's look at the weather right now. It is currently 99 degrees, the high of 100, the high of 100 for today with a low of 76. Looking at for today, we're looking at a feel like of 105 degrees, so very uncomfortable, but there is bound to be someone out there in the audience who likes this kind of weather. If you like this weather, I don't know what's really wrong with you. Anyways, let's talk about the music that came out last week. Last Friday was a major week for a lot of artists, really. First album that a lot of people were talking about over the internet was the new Olivia Rodrigo album, Guts, making her sophomore album. We also have the new album by Tizo, Touchdown, How Do You Sleep at Night. We also have the new album by James Blake, which is, I was really looking forward for this album. Playing Robots into Heaven. It was a great listen, not gonna lie. If you're into it, Laufey also released the album Bewitch. Haven't heard it yet. Some people say it's good. I think it's now like 30 of the year on Rate Your Music. I really haven't checked yet. I'll definitely check that out later. As well as the new Chemicals Brother album, coming back with their new album, For That Beautiful Feeling, marking it their 10th studio album. This week is also a major week of new albums by a lot of artists. I know the main thing that some of my friends are talking about is the new Mitski album. I forgot the name of the album because I don't have it in my notes. But yeah, a lot of people were talking about that. The past Mitski album, what was it called? Laurel Hill? I forgot what it was. It did not make my top albums of the year, but definitely make it to my top recommendations of the year. Last year was a bit pretentious, if people want to say, oh, you're a very pretentious person when it comes to music. Yes, I wear that as a badge of honor. I have rated over 1,900 releases on Rate Your Music. I'm very proud of being pretentious, as only 30 albums have made a 5 out of 5. But then again, when you don't do anything for most of your middle school, since you were not really a social person, you just spent a lot of time listening to music. But hey, it got me into listening to a lot of music, which is fun, I guess. It depends on who you ask. It might be fun for some, maybe not so fun for others. I don't know, It's a difficult thing now thinking about it. It's interesting. But yeah, anyways, let's talk about the next two tracks we'll be playing for you. The next two tracks are coming from the New York record label Creative Mysteries Art. First off, we're going to have the track Loser Dove by Prophet Thaddeus from their 2023 EP, Extended Play 1. It's a small trio, very, I'd say, post-jazz-like sound experimentation all over the place. And then the second track we're going to have Get Out of the Ghetto by Standing on the Corner, Part 2. But from the same EP, Get Out of the Ghetto, from 2020. Same as well from the same album. Not same album, same record label. So let's get into that, shall we? And that was Standing on the Corner. Both those albums were produced under the stage name of Shamel C. Mystery, born of Gio Escobar. He was one of the leading members that founded Standing on the Corner, which I regard as one of the main bands actually got me into wanting to make my own music. I think I heard Standing on the Corner back in high school, maybe like 10th grade. I heard their self-titled debut album, and that's like, if you want like a good sound of New York inspired jazz experimentation, That album's really great, to put it lightly. Okay, now let's look at the albums that we have coming out this week. I actually have the list now. Let's see. We have the new Explosions in the Sky album, N, coming off Temporary Residence Limited. Let's see, we're going to have the deluxe version of Michael by the American rapper Killer Mike. The new Mitski album, The Land is Inhospitable and So Are We, coming out on Dead Oceans. We have two things coming out by Pharoah Sanders, rest in peace. We have Harvest Time Live 1977 EP, as well as the self-titled Pharaoh, both on Luka Bop. And let's see, here was another interesting thing here. We also have the Willie Nelson album, Bluegrass. And then next week, September 22nd, it's going to be a major week. A lot of artists are doing releases. The album I am very looking forward to is the re-release of Last Splash, the 30th anniversary edition by The Breeders, coming out on 4AD. I love that album. I have it on CD somewhere in my collection. I have to find it. It's there. It's definitely in there. The new Drake album, For the Dogs. Honestly, I don't care for Drake. I don't care for Drake. I really don't. It's the most J.C. Penney music you could ever play. I mean, I remember hearing Honestly Nevermind and Honestly Nevermind and Certified Lover Boy are what I regard as some of the worst albums I've ever heard. It's boring. It's lazy. The production is just... Actually, the production is good. It's just, it sounds so lazy. Like, I know he's rich. I know you got money to spend. But come on, I'd spend some money on, I don't know, making yourself write something good. Because honestly, I just don't really care for Drake. But hey, if you're into that stuff, I guess, I don't know. I mean... Maybe find something new to listen to? I don't know, to each their own. And then September 29th, we're going to have the new album by Animal Collective, Isn't It Now? I love Animal Collective. My friend Gael loves Animal Collective. How you doing, Gael? I mean, recently, their album, Strawberry Jam, it was its birthday. That album, I mean, the track for Reverend Green, I love that track. I remember listening to that track probably my first week of college, so like 2 years ago. That oh man, that's been a minute actually. Anyways, like I said, the last two tracks were very strong on the heavy jazz influence, so I decided let's take it back into some jazz. Let's play some Herbie Hancock. This is the track Spiraling Prism from his 1980 album, Mr. Hands. It was the first album he recorded using a computer, that being the Apple II, and this was actually his 24th album. I think now he's like 41 albums, I think. I mean, Herbie Hancock, if you don't listen to Herbie Hancock, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I mean, Watermelon Man, Herbie Hancock and the Headhunters, I mean, just classic music. The album Sunlight, banger of a track, banger of an album. I mean, the title track, I think there's a title track. That track, it's great. But the whole album, ooh-wee, that is good. That is good production. So let's get into Spiraling Prisms. And remember, you're listening to Coffee Noise. Don't touch that dial. Alright, and if you're joining it right now, it is barely about to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's talk about some stuff that's happening in my life. On Sunday, my family and I found a puppy on the side of the road, and we basically really took him in our house, got little shots and whatnot. Sam is around 12 weeks old, according to the veterinarian. He is very energetic. I don't know how I'm supposed to take care of a puppy. The last dog I had, which, rest in peace, Toby, he was 16. The last dog, he was like a year old, but I got him when I was like 2 years. This is new for me, having a puppy at 20. So I don't really know what I'm doing, really. I mean, I play with him and whatnot. Pearl, I know you're listening to him. You're giving me a lot of slack on how I'm supposed to deal with a puppy, but you know what? I'm doing it somewhat all right. All right, let's talk about news dealing with music. So I don't know if you saw this thing over the weekend. I think it was like last week. Warner Music, one of those major record labels, signed a record deal with an AI-generated pop star, and I absolutely hate that. I mean, look, pop music is great. I love pop music. I love Charlie XCX. What's that band? I forgot what it's called, but there's a lot of pop music that I do like. I do like Britney Spears. Britney Spears is pretty good. Taylor Swift, I'm not against it. She's pretty interesting. How you doing, Perla? But like an AI generator, really? I mean, this just screams very lazy marketing. I mean, say what you want about AI, but some things should just not be touched. And music is one of those things, alright? Music should be made by people because they have talent. AI does not have talent. It's a bunch of code. It's not real. But you know what? That's just me. That's my little tangent. And a report coming out of Sweden, Spotify was being used by criminal gangs to launder money. You hear something new every single day. It's interesting. And I don't know, maybe it's interesting? I mean, I saw that and I was laughing. I mean, the most interesting things come out of Sweden, and it got me to thinking. The rapper Blade, you know, all that Drain Gang stuff, you have Echo 2K and whatnot. Could they be a part of that? I don't want to think that much, because I do like his music. I mean, I was listening to, what's that album? Triple Three? Was it Triple Three? I forgot what it was. It's one of his most popular ones. I think it was Triple Three. I love that album. But I saw that, I was like, there's no way. There is no way. But I guess there is. Anyways, let's go on a little bit of a tangent here. So, rate your music and Letterboxd. I use both of them. Let's talk about the latest films I've seen. Recently, I've just been kind of on a short film kick. I do love short films, but I also like watching horrible films. That's one of my favorite pastimes. Like, on the weekend, I watched that movie Gotti starring John Travolta. It is such a bad movie, and it is so good. If you haven't seen it, I mean, watch it on YouTube. Get like an ad blocker so you can watch it in full. But it's like, wow, I was laughing. And the soundtrack. Okay, so it's a mob film, but the soundtrack is made by Pitbull. I don't know where's the connection, but apparently the studio who made it thought, you know what, let's get Pitbull to make the music. And it is very out of touch. It does not work at all. Apparently you have to say that. But the last films I've seen, I've seen the short film The Man Without a Shadow. Great film. Really great film. It's a French animated film, but it's there's no spoken dialogue. It's just background music. It's very good. I mean, it's only like 9 minutes long. You can probably find it online. I found it online, and if you haven't watched it, definitely give it a listen. It's really good. Anyways, let's get back into the music. Let's start off the last half hour with a track from the band Earth. It's coming out from their 2011 album, Angels of Darkness, Demons of Light Part 1. We have the track Old Black. This track is about, let's call it 8 minutes and 50 seconds long. It's a very slow, almost a bit, I guess you could say post-rock sound, more like drone rock. Interesting sound. I love it. Let's get into it. And that was some doomer rock from Earth. It's very slow. I like it when it's very slow music. Almost puts you like almost in a, I guess you could say in a hypnotic state. And I really like that. Anyways, what else on news about music? Talking Heads, they reunited for the on stage at TIFF. For a Q&A with Spike Lee. They were doing a screening of the newly remastered concert documentary, Stop Making Sense. It's remastered by A24. I need to see that film. I love that concert film. I mean, it's not a controversial statement to say that many people would regard that as one of the best, if not the best, concert films. It was during their tour of their album, I think it was called, what was it, Speaking in Tongues. I mean, everyone's heard about Remain in Light. Speaking in Tongues is probably my favorite Talking Heads album because it's just good. I mean, the track, what's that track called? This is the melody. This is a house melody. What's that track? That's right, like, I have a girlfriend. That song is very good, and I just listen to that so many times. Some people say it's annoying, but you know what? Hey, I like it. Anyways, since we're talking about Earth, they just announced the 30th anniversary reissue of Earth 2 Special Low Frequency version. And if you haven't heard Earth, listen to that album. It's a difficult listen for many people since it's basically an hour plus of drone music. I love drone music. I love experimental music as a whole. But yeah, I mean, 30 years. I heard that song I heard that album in full in middle school. I think I only listened to it because I was bored and I fell in love with it. A lot of people don't really understand. They ask me, Rod, why do you like listening to it? I just say, don't ask, you know what I'm saying? Don't ask. Anyways, let's talk about the last two tracks we're going to be playing for you. We're going to be playing, first off, the track Punk by Dean Blunt, coming off his 2014 album Black Metal, released on Rough Trade. Dean Blunt's one of those very I wouldn't say internet-based, but very shadowy figures. He doesn't do a lot of press review, doesn't do a lot of talking. I mean, when he released the follow-up album, Black Metal 2, back in 2021, it was really with no announcement. Rough Trade basically put up like, oh yeah, we're releasing this album. It's coming out this Friday. Black Metal, it's kind of ironic because it's not black metal, it's art pop music, and I love art pop, so yeah. And we're going to be finishing off today with the track Good Morning Captain by Slint. It's going to be the 2014 remastered version. The album came out in 1994. Their second album, Spiderland, off of Touch and Go Records. I mean, Slint is now regarded as one of the most important bands of the 90s, and they broke up shortly before the album came out. I mean, it basically gone unnoticed, and now people would say that was the beginning of the new alt-rock scene in the 90s. I mean, post-rock, alt-rock, I guess you could say some of Drone and Screaming. Yeah, let's just get into with Dean Blunt. Alright, and it is 3:29. Let's wrap it up for today's show. So, just to say it again, we played for you, how many tracks was it? I can't remember, but we played a few tracks. We played you from Alex G, Geese, Prophet Thaddeus, Standing on the Corner, Herbie Hancock, Dean Blunt, Slint, and Earth. Actually, those last three are in wrong order. As always, this week's song will be made in the playlist both on Apple Music and Spotify. You can see the playlist on Instagram, Rigo Hates Art, because I'm a critic, and we all hate art. This week's theme was Go for the Bronze. Anyways, have a good day. Remember, stay tuned. You're listening to Vaquero Radio. Laters.